Hi guys, Zanderson977 here today to do a new addition to my anime list, Tokyo Ghoul anime episode 1 review. And I must say, I decided to give Tokyo Ghoul a try, first anime episode, and if I liked it, then I'll start reviewing it. And based on the first episode, based on what I've seen for Tokyo Ghoul, I like it pretty much. I like the whole animation of it. I like the whole pacing, story behind it. And as the anime episodes go on, we see how the story progress. But so far, for our first start of Tokyo Ghoul episode 1, liked it pretty much. So I'll be reviewing Tokyo Ghoul on my channel from this moment forth. So let's get started with this anime episode review. Now, I have to say that Tokyo Ghoul anime episode 1, the animation is spectacular. The animation is on point. I love the animation very much. The different scenes in this episode that went by the from the initial restaurant scene where Kaneki and Hide were meeting first, and they were talking about, Kaneki was telling him about going on a date with this girl that he's supposed to meet, and after that, the whole scenery being outside, even the scenery of him coming home after his operation, trying to eat the food, and he realizes that he can't eat it, and there's food all over the apartment. The animation is just spotless. I liked it very, very much. I'm not sure how exactly they got the animation to look like that, but whatever it is, it's working. It's working for them. Love the animation. First initially, this anime episode starts off with this woman who's eating, corpses, and she's covered in blood. And then all of a sudden we see this guy in this hockey mask come up behind her and begin talking, like saying that he was contracted to kill her. And then right before he's supposed to attack her, he's saying, well, I'm supposed to bring you in alive, but that doesn't mean that I can't take off your legs or your hands, or a couple. He really wants to mess her up. And then it got me thinking that, damn, this dude is just as messed up as this woman is, who um who after that point in the anime episode, it's revealed that her name is Reason. She is the Ghoul binge eater, right? But it got me thinking that, damn, this dude is just as messed up as she is. The way how he's saying that he just wants to take a limb or two, like he's begging, and he's breathing deeply, and he's getting worked up, he's getting excited from just talking about this stuff, and I'm like, damn, this dude is just as messed up as this woman is. But we see him go after her and try to attack, but then all of a sudden we see she evaded easily, and then she's on top of these it looks like a construction site here, and then after that the scene switches basically to two guys in this restaurant, Hide and Kaneki, and both of them were talking, and then is well, it seems so far that Kaneki is the protagonist of the series, so the series story, it will be following, it will be centered around Kaneki, and Kaneki and his friend Hide were talking about, you know this girl that Kaneki is supposed to meet, and then off in the corner of the restaurant that they're in, there's this waitress girl that Hide says looks attractive, so he calls her over. It's like he wants to get her order. But turns out that, hey, he jumped up same time asking her for a number, making a move already. Good job. So he's making a move already, and then he found out that her name is Toha. So you know at that point she got shy and ran away. But so the episode, right after it's revealed that that girl's name is Toka, we see this other, you know, slim, petite looking girl with purple looking hair with glasses walk into the shop. And at first sight, Kaneki was hooked, as in, he got sucked in by, her beauty and her appearance. And it so happens that he was staring at her the whole time. She went over to this chair and was sitting on there, and it's like right before his friend Hide went off, Hide put some coins on the book that Kaneki had, and it's revealed that the girl that walked in has that same exact book. I don't remember the title of her book right now, but you know, they both share that book. So she noticed that Kaneki was there staring at her for the whole time, and she was smiling and she giggled, and then one thing led to the next. They ended up arranging a date to go to the bookstore. And upon going to the bookstore, you know, Kaneki was talking with her as we see on the date, but she didn't touch any of the food. And Kaneki actually asked her why she didn't touch, and she says that you know she's not hungry. And then this is where things begin to get a bit suspicious. She began saying that she lives near to where the Ghoul attacks are happening, and because of that, you know, she didn't say it out loud, but it's hinted that she's saying that she wants company to go home, you know, for the man to escort the lady home. So you know, that's pretty much a given right here, you know, to be gentleman like to escort the lady home. That's pretty much a given. So he decides to walk her home, and then upon walking to where she supposedly lives, they begin talking. It's revealed that it's real Kaneki reveals that his mother is dead, his mother died, and that's how he got into reading books. He explains his whole backstory in that regards, and then they come across this dark alleyway. It looks very suspicious if you ask me. So they begin walking into that dark alleyway, and then Kaneki says, I mean, Rize says that this is where she is supposed to go her own ways, and then Kaneki, he's because he's interested in her and he likes her, he's asking her if they can make up again for a second date, and then she says that you know he's a good mannered guy and you know he's this and that and irritating, and then she begins to give hints that she recognizes that he's interested in her and she's also interested in him. So then he begins to get excited, and then she comes close to him like she was going to give him a hug or a kiss, and then all of a sudden, what happens? We see his whole entire shoulder get bitten into by Riza, and it turns out that she is a ghoul. She's actually the same ghoul that they classified as a binge eating ghoul that was killing all those people, you know, on the news in the anime as we've seen. And then she was basically, you know, tearing him up, ready to eat him, and then he she was there beating him up, tearing him up, and she was saying like, oh, he's dead already. That was too fast. And then all of a sudden, we see all these you know, like they were directly above this construction site area, and then all of these steel beams just begin to pop coincidentally one by one in the right order, and then all of a sudden all these beams came crashing down, and then she's like, what the hell, how could this have happened? They came crashing down on her. And then when the medical team got to that area, they probably assumed that you know the cause of Kaneki's injuries was the incident of the accident that happened where all these beams fell down on them. Right, but it seemed that it didn't fall down on Kaneki, but all of it fell down on Rize, who was a ghoul. So I guess that was the assumption. So they decided that they would give Kaneki her internal organs because, as we see in this episode, he was getting whipped up pretty bad. You know, he got um attacked through his stomach. You know, he ended up suffering some pretty severe wounds, especially his organs. So his organs were pretty much obliterated, almost. You know, he was ripped to shreds, almost literally by this woman. And then they decide to give her, because they are probably assuming that she's a normal human being and she was caught up in an accident as he was caught up in an accident. They decide to give him her organs, and upon giving her and upon giving him her organs, we see like right at that point when there's a scene that Kaneki is floating in this watery place in this kind of ocean underwater, and he's like, what's going on? But in the background, he can hear about the details of the operation, what is being said from what is not being said. So, you know, we know that the operation is going on, and right behind him, we see this body of this girl coming up right behind him to come hug and embrace him, and it's revealed that it's actually Rize. Well, from the shape of the body and the hair color, you could pretty much make out that it was Rize all along. And then after that point, after it reaches a point where he's coming out of his operation, he's coming out of the coma of being brought under all those by those anesthetics. Operation is over. We see him wake up, and one of his eye is the exact, you know, is the exact image of that ghoul eye that Rize has. So right there, it's a hint. He didn't realize it at that point, but it's hinted, it's shown right there that because the organs were transferred from Rize to him, he got the ghoul disease or ghoul infection that Rize had. So he's now apparently half human, half ghoul. And then, he comes home from the operation, and his friend Hide sent him some burger, his favorite hamburger, and said, hey, try to cheer up. So he sent him that hamburger. He actually realizes that he's not hungry at all. And then on the news and listening to the news, he actually hears this commentator talk about the ghoul sickness and the characteristics of the differences between ghouls and humans. And the commentator goes on to say that ghouls, they're they don't eat the normal foods that humans eat, because eating that food makes them, it tastes awful to them, and they don't like it, right? That instantly rings a bell to his mind. And then he got paranoid. He then begins to try stuffing his face with all his food, but then he's realizing that he can't stomach it. He's throwing everything up. He's running to the bathroom, throwing up everything in the bathroom, and he's just completely out of it. Everything, like his whole reality seems to be crashing down on him at that point. And then after that point, the realization dawns on him that he did in fact turn a ghoul. After the point where the guy in the news said that normal um kitchen cutlery like knives and those type of stuff can't harm ghouls, he tries stabbing himself with that knife, and what happens, the knife just breaks apart. So at that point it dawns on him that, whoa, I really am ghoul. He's really is ghoul, and he's really depressed over that fact. And towards the final scene of this episode, when Kaneki, he begins to walk outside, and then he has this complete urge or calling where in his mind he says that smell actually reminds him of his mother's homemade cooking, and he really loves it. And then he's running all his way, and upon coming to this point, we see him looking at a ghoul feeding on a corpse, and he's like, whoa, I was brought all this way, this amazing nice smelling food and everything, brought all this way to just come and see a ghoul feeding on a corpse. And then the ghoul that's feeding actually begins to talk to him and says that, oh, you're a ghoul as well, if and then begin to gesture to him like, hey, you want some, right? And he's pretty much freaked out, and then out of the blue we see this guy that happens to be, well, it's actually revealed to be Hide's friend. I remember, because at one point in the episode, when it's revealed that Hide was trying to call him, and he realizes that his friend Kaneki is out of hospital, he's calling him. He tried visiting Kaneki all those times, but to no avail. He was always turned down or always turned away. And then he tries coming to the hospital, but to no avail. They wouldn't let him through. And then he tries calling, but it's not anything. And then that guy that Hide was talking to at that point, you go back and remember, it's the same guy with the same glasses. That's the same guy that Kaneki was talking to, Kaneki's No, not Kaneki. Hide was talking to Hide's friend, where he was talking about Kaneki to him. So, you know, he actually comes up and then he begins to talk about, it's his territory and he shouldn't be smooching around here. And then out of the blue, he begins to say that he's going to get rid of him and kill him. And then out of the blue, we see Toka come up and says that, that's complete crap. Rize, who was killed apparently, the binge eating ghoul, this was her era. She used to come around these areas, and she's saying that just because Rize is no longer around, he wants to act like he's the big boss, that he's in charge of anything, and she's not going to have it. So she actually goes in a kind of mini fight with him. She ends up beating him, and he ends up, running away. And then to actually cut a long story short, um, and yes, it's revealed that Toka is also a ghoul. So at this point, looking at Kaneki, she sees that he's like half human, half ghoul. And at that point, he's trying to resist the urge to eat, but it's something that he can't resist. He in his mind, because he's completely overcome by all his feelings and all the shock and revelation of everything, it really got to him. And she's saying that, well, if you're in so much pain, then you have to eat. And she actually tears off a piece of the human flesh and stuffs it into his mouth, and then we hear him swallow. So at that point, he finally, at least in terms of survival, begins to embrace his ghoul abilities. So that at least he can survive. But what a seemingly unfortunate turn of events for him. Not only was he unlucky enough to go on a date with the binge eater Ghoul Rize in the first place, but to well, he went on a date with her. She attacked him. She was beginning to eat him and kill him. And then out of the blue, this miracle happened. She got taken out. He survived, right? And survived by what? By using her organs to keep him alive and bring him back to life. So because of that, he then got cool abilities. He then also became a ghoul. So it's very interesting. It's it leaves you wanting more for the next episode. Alright, it leaves you wishing that the next episode will come so that you can see what happens beyond this point. But overall, I think it was a great episode. I like the animation, I like everything about it, and um, as I said, it's one of those episodes that leaves you wanting more, leaves you wondering what will happen next, and and really at this point, your guess is as good as mine. That's what will happen and how this entire series will play out. So overall, that's it. That's my review. It seems a little long from my first review, but it's the first one, so that's that. So that's it. That's my review. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Sayonara.